Welcome to the Stay Paid podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by Reminder Media. Hello, Stay Paid listeners. Before we get into today's episode, I have a free resource for you that you're not going to want to miss. So you know Steven runs Acree Brothers Realty. We did 269 transactions last year. 50% of those came from our sphere of influence. I've put together a PDF of the exact marketing touch points that we send to our database, and I want you to check this out because I want you to have the same success that we're having. I put together this PDF. You can get access to it in the link in the description below. Don't miss it. And now on to today's episode.
Welcome to Stay Paid. I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree.
And joining us today, as always, is Stephen Acree and Cody Smith of the Acree Brothers Realty team, the #1 team in Lynchburg, Virginia. Welcome, gentlemen.
What is up? What is up?
What up?
And we are excited to introduce
I gotta give them
guest.
a better intro. Every
know.
intro, they're like, it's like a fraternity here or something, like bros. What's up? What's up?
Pause after every single one.
I give the pause, and I'm just waiting for some gold, you know?
Better intro.
Yeah, we got to work on the intro, but that's okay.
Catchphrase,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Hello. It is good to see you both
Us
today.
again.
We are excited to introduce our guest today. Her name is Cory Vasquez. She is the president and chief marketing officer of Realty One Group, a 25-plus year communications veteran, joining Realty One Group in 2018, bringing with her years of experience in a host of communication fields, including PR, crisis communications management, and social media. She's been a frequent national speaker and has won several awards for integrated public relations campaign. Cory, welcome to Stay Paid. Thanks for being here.
I love it. Thank you guys too. And
I did that in one breath.
I know, right? That was well done. And also, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this game, but like, which one of these kids doesn't belong here? I should have gotten my makeshift headphones so that I could join the group.
You got to get the
I'm on the
headphones.
out.
Yeah.
It's great to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
We just like to feel cool with these headphones. Josh and I, we're
I
suckers.
said, buy the red ones.
Yeah, we bought Beats.
Buy the red Beats.
Which, you know, what did they find out when you open them apart? They put like little weights in there
Just
so
to
they
make them heavier.
yeah, feel heavier. So they
No
feel.
way.
Yeah, so
They do, yeah.
that's the power of branding, right? It's like, you know, is there any real difference between a Mercedes or BMW and a Kia these days? Kia is probably even better,
Yep,
but it's
yep.
just the
And we're
name
suckers
brand.
for it. We are suckers for it.
I would love to hear your take because obviously you're a chief marketing officer. You've been an executive in the real estate space for a long time. How did you get into real estate? And can you tell us a little bit about your journey to give the audience perspective of what you've done?
Yep, you bet. So yeah, a lot of communications and marketing background. I did some tech. I took a couple years, thought I'd save the world and worked for an animal shelter and was a fundraising director of development. Yeah. And I still foster a lot of dogs today. So
Love that.
everybody should do a little stint in nonprofit just to know what that feels like. And then I fell right into real estate marketing. I had an opportunity to work for a hospital or to go work for Remax in marketing. And the hospital was in the middle of a tuberculosis outbreak. So I went real estate. And that's literally how I landed myself at Remax. And I'll tell you what, I was there for 13 years. I love that brand. I love my brokers there. I still love my Remax brokers. Was so much fun learning and knowing Dave Liniger and spending time with him. That pioneer, that entrepreneur spirit is something that I just find so fascinating. I think I have a small piece of that, but not anything like a Dave Liniger.
I'm curious, just sorry to cut you off there, but I'm curious, like, was he, obviously he's still around and stuff like that. I know he's putting out a podcast. Was he one of these guys that was just believed in the impossible, crazy? Everybody thought he was crazy and high demands, like he expected perfection. Is that what it was like being around him?
Exactly like that, and super organic and natural. There was no like waking up every day, I've got to find something disruptive to do. It's just in his nature. And actually, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, but I see that similarity in Kuba Yevgenyev, who is our CEO and founder, which is why I fell in love with Realty One Group, is they're not disruptive and they don't do change just for the sake of doing change. They do it because they see something different. And from the first time I met each one of them, I was like, yeah, this is a crazy spirit and I want to latch on and I'm ready for the ride. So
I love that. So what attracted you to Realty One Group? Like, because people are making brokerage switches, I hate to say all the time, but all the time. And you see this especially down at the real estate agent level. What made you go, okay, I'm going to take a chance and go over to Realty One Group? What did you see there? What do you think is unique about what you guys are bringing to the table?
Yeah, and it was my time to leave Remax, and I honestly had thought I might go do marketing in a different genre, a different niche. And I met the Realty One Group people were wonderful and flew me out just to get to know me. We are really big on relationship building and just knowing people. So it wasn't even really hey, we've got a position for you, but I went out and met them. I first and foremost fell in love with the people. So as I mentioned, Cuba, Mike Clear is our CFO and COO, Alex is our general counsel, and man, just the warmest, most giving, most generous spirits, really intelligent folks too. And so
even your general counsel,
even our general counsel.
Wow. Now that is impressive.
I know. And we've had moments we've pulled him to the dark side. Otherwise he stays pretty true to legal. But I fell in love with the people. And I think that's a big thing this day and age, is to fall in love with the people first, and then everything that they believe in. And that came very naturally when I figured out what they were doing at Realty One Group. And that is just like, people want to belong still. They want to have a passion for what they do. There's no way in these kind of challenging markets that if you don't believe in what you're doing and have a passion for it, you're going to make it, right? And so, and we see real estate as a team sport, and it's like, we're all in this together. So I think even in the days of COVID, we were like, we're in this with you. We started doing Zoom calls like everybody did, and we said, we get it. We're here with you. What can we do? And so I think it's that culture that we have, the feeling of belongingness. The brand certainly is fun, sticks out. And again, I think you can follow great leadership when they have great mindset.
You've done an incredible job with the brand, because when I look at Realty One Group's brand, and this is not to knock other brands, but you guys have a really, really solid, what I would call premium feel to your brand. Quality is what I see when I see your brand. I don't see old. I see something that's fresh, new, up and coming. How do you think about brand when you're trying to, as a chief marketing officer, trying to differentiate yourself in the marketplace? Because real estate is, it's the same in a lot of ways when you go to any of these brokerages, and we work with a ton of different brokerages here at Reminder Media. Like, what do you see as like the differentiator in defining brand?
Well, and I think that we still kind of consider ourselves the up and comers, the newcomers, the younger brands. We're celebrating our 20th year this year. So, I mean, really 2 decades of being in real estate. But I will say, like, I think we cheat a little bit, because the older traditional brands, they have to kind of stay true to that always model that they've had, or that network gets disgruntled and gets frustrated. Our network knows when they sign on, we're going to do it differently. So, and one of the things that I love about what we do is, Cuba created this brand. We have a fantastic creative team that takes the brand and makes it live, but then we give it away. We honestly give it to our brokers. We give it to our agents and say, make it yours. Don't bastardize the brand by any means, but make it yours, because we know the brand looks very different in Boise than it looks in Tallahassee, than it looks in, we just sold Jamaica. It's going to look very different out there. So we don't put a lot of parameters around it. We let them live it.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting, because you're giving a lot of autonomy. I'm surprised. Do you run into issues giving people that autonomy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a leap of faith, right? And so we want to take that leap of faith, because we built this brand to be theirs. We didn't build this brand for us. We built it for them. And so I always go back to the fact that Cuba's one of the only founders still in the game. Founded the company, still runs the game. He was an agent, right? And I think we talked about.
I didn't know Cuba is still a practicing agent. He's still a practicing agent, or no?
Not in theory, but he's still running. He's still in, operations, and he meets with the agents all the time. And we own 12 offices, so he's still. We've got a president of those brokerages, and he's still very much in their mix.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but because, I do love that agent brain.
That's the difference. It's essentially like Reminder Media. Our game went to the next level once Acree Brothers Realty came onto the scene, because there's just a nuance that you can't understand unless your boots on the ground, unless
Absolutely.
you have that connection. What did Cuba do? His first year in business, what did he do? What, like 130 or something transactions his first year?
Such a fun story. Yeah, he's just, again, that entrepreneur brain. So he was building computer hardware and putting together computers, and he gets bored very easily. And he was at a bar, I think, or a restaurant, and heard people talking about real estate and was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And he went out and sold, did 111 transactions his first year.
Yeah.
Thus the one that follows us everywhere. So he never saw his broker, but he was on a 70-30 split. And he's like, what am I paying for? So he decided to leave and go do his own thing, and agents followed him. And that's how Realty One Group started. But he still operates this business from an agent brain. And so there will be times we do branding, marketing, tech products, and he says, nope, the agents aren't going to use that, start over. Like if I were an agent, I wouldn't use that, start over.
Yeah, then there's so many golden nuggets in there of like leadership is basically planting your flag on a belief system of usually based on values, hopefully
Yes.
based on some value. And most of the time, great leaders have to do that when nobody else believes, or you are what would be called like disruption, or basically could be even called as like crazy. Hey, start over. I don't like it. This is no good. And you have to offend to get better. In essence, you have to be willing to offend. And that's what all great leaders tend to have. You look at all the great disruptors, all the great leaders of all time, they're just willing to plant their flag in a belief system, focused on quality, and they're just not worried about the collateral damage of someone's feelings because they are ultimately doing it for your better good anyways. Like they believe in the vision over your feelings because they know if I accomplish this vision, you'll be that much happier in your life and what you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about like the way you see the future? Because right now is it's like a really crazy time. I don't know if these stats are true or not. Inman News came out with 71% of agents did 0 deals last year.
Yep.
I saw a stat from Jared James. He said it was 74%. Let's just say it's even 50%.
It's a lot.
Let's just say it's a lot.
Yeah, let's just say it's half. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just say it's half are not doing. That's 1.6 million real estate agents. Half are not doing business. 71% haven't done a deal in a year. How are you seeing the market? What are you encouraging Realty One agents to focus on to try to not be in that percentage?
I think, let me say it this way. I think on a good day, real estate, I admire what you guys do. And I tell our agents that all the time. I haven't done it, but man, I admire the pants off of what you guys do. On a good day, it's a tough job. These haven't been good days. And you guys have had to dig so deep, and you guys are doing a fantastic job. So kudos on the month you just had in January and what you guys have been doing, because you have to dig deep into everything you've either ever learned or everything that you know you need to learn, and go out and do it differently. You have to change your mindset on how real estate's done today. And we'll just say the 50% or the 25%, whatever that might be, who are still in the business. And I think it raises the level of professionalism, right? And we've needed to do that. We've talked about that in the last couple of years, especially with lawsuits and things, is like, our buyers and sellers have to be forefront. They're the reason why we do this job, and we have to raise the level of service for them. And so the more we bring professional into the industry, I think the more that spreads throughout all of our agents and all of our brands, and it just raises our industry, I think, in the public size. So I'm not afraid of it. We want to help the agents who are serious about it. We want to help the agents who are doing it like as a friend and family referral too, because that's an important job. So we're doubling down on coaching. We're doubling down on marketing. We're doubling down on technology and all the things that they're going to need in the next year or 2 or 3 until we're kind of riding easy again.
You guys do a good job of feeling like a boutique brokerage, but being national brokerage, because I can even see
it feels premium.
Leading edge, is that the tagline that you guys have?
Yes.
Or because I don't know why I can just see that. So you do a great job branding, and I've noticed a lot of top producers, going over to Realty One.
It's interesting because you said you're doubling down on training and coaching, doubling down on marketing. We're having so many agents, because we're a marketing company, many agents cancel and pause. Now they're canceling and pausing. Why? Because they don't have money, right? Because they haven't said. But I try to tell them it's like the last thing you should be canceling is your marketing. Now I totally understand check equity versus sweat equity.
Sure.
So I beg people, hey, even if you can't pay us to do marketing for you, please put in the sweat equity to get out there and market, even if it's just calling people and letting them know about you and calling your sphere. But why do you think agents, they go to immediately canceling their marketing? It's like a restaurant turning off their sign. when they have no patrons. And it's like, well, that's not going to help you get more patrons into your restaurant. That's going to help you get less.
No, but I think it's like we talked about in a different way. It's that leap of faith, right? Is like, and you invest in yourself. And so if you believe in yourself and you have the mindset that you're going to do it, you'll, instead of going to get that $6, $7, Starbucks coffee every day, you're going to take that savings. You're going to look at your operational expenses and your marketing expenses and say, where am I better invested? And to your point, like they are pulling out of some marketing, some vendorships and partner relationships, but they're recognizing the ones that are very important because they know their numbers. They're seeing where their referrals were coming from. They're seeing where they're getting business from. And we talk to our agents every day about know where these clients are coming from and double down. So if it's door knocking, I mean, that's free, right? If it's door knocking, I had an agent the other day, I love it, dropped off, it was going to be freezing here, 15 degrees in Denver. And he dropped off a box of hot chocolate and some marshmallows and stuff and just did a pop by.
That's great.
And I'm not doing business with him, but I freaking love it. Like whatever it is, they're going to look at where they're getting those clients from and double down on that.
Well, you guys saw, like, Cody, how many deals did you, like 25, closed in January, but how many came from circle prospecting?
Yeah, 10. About 20,
10.
I think like 26% of our business.
That's huge.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Circle prospecting, literally calling on homes just because you have a reason to call, or door knock, right, on those homes just because you have a reason. I think your biggest category was Sphere, referrals and Sphere.
Right.
And then it went to circle prospecting, which is, to your point, like this whole pop buys, this circle prospecting, it's like that is what is required today, because it's a skills-based market. It's not an easy market anymore. It's a harder market to get out there and actually be known and get the deals that are happening, because you can look at it two ways, right? It's the glass half empty, glass half full. You can look at it as, oh, this is like the worst market in 30 years, like transactions are down, or you can look at it that no, 4.1 million homes are still going to be sold this year. And that means there's 8 million sides that probably are going to happen this year. There are going to be a certain number of agents that get those sides. Are you going to be one of them? And real estate is a relationship-based business, which means if you're known, you're liked, and you're trusted, you have an 81% chance to get that business, according to NAR. How do you play in the mind share of your clients? Like, what is your share of the mind share? That is the question that every agent has to ask themselves. But I don't think we think about it that way. We tend to get down on the negative narratives and give ourselves excuses.
Yep, I would agree with everything. And Josh, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when you and I had a conversation, and that's exactly what we're telling our agents is don't focus on that 4.1 million, focus on your share of that. Focus on what your numbers were last year and where you want to go this year, and do it on a month by month basis. We have a new class called Level Up, which is taking agents from who have kind of rested on their laurels and they know they do, 20, 25 transactions a year. And we built a coaching program called Level Up to say like, okay, but you could be doing 35, 40, 50. Let's see how we can get you there. And it's really like, let's just take a bite out of that 4.1 million. And we want more of our share of that. So we tell our agents every day, I love that you guys have that same mentality. Let's just not look at it. And that's, again, driven by Akuba. Akuba gets up every morning with gratitude and grace. And he just changes mindsets every day. Like, we're not looking at 4.1, we're looking at what's ours.
Well, if you want to move the business, you have to move the people. In order to move the people, you have to move their mind. And that's why all the greatest entrepreneurs, that's why you read Think and Grow Rich, and it's like the business Bible, in a sense. And it is about business, but it's not even really about business. It's about mindset. It's about, controlling your mind. And that's where it all starts. And, I'm interested because you're, the president of this company, and it's a massive, real estate company. You've been around 20 years, but it feels premium, feels like it's growing. How have you attracted top talent and led top talent within your organization? Like, what's your leadership style? How do you create? Because on the podcast, you're coming it seems, oh, she's really well put together, professional. You're on top of it. Yeah, there you go. But how do you go and attract really high talent to your team? And then how are you leading the team and the brokerages to drive high performance?
And, my answer today is different than it was 2 years ago, right? Given the market and given the stuff that's happened with the real estate industry. And yet it's the same. I sometimes hate that word mindset. It feels like a drinking game, right? Because every podcast you listen to, it's something about mindset. But what I think we realize about mindset is it's an everyday activity. So it's not like I listened to a podcast on mindset today, I'm going to go out and kill it. And then tomorrow you're like, man, this market sucks. Like, I don't want to do a pop by today. I don't want to make a call today. I don't feel like it. It's an everyday activity. It's like going to the gym every single day. And so we are in constant contact with all of our franchise owners who have opened. Our new franchise sales prospects are coming to us because they see something fresh and different. And they won't change unless it gets uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable. And I think it's uncomfortable now to the point where some of them are like, I've been with this brand for 20 years, but I'm not seeing that difference. And I want something different. If we're gonna go into a different market in the next 2, 3, 4 years, I want to be a part of something different. And that's what we keep hearing from them. They're watching other people do it and be super happy with their lives. Look, we have our challenges. We're like every brand. We're like every family. We have our dysfunctions, right? And we have our challenges, but we face them head on, and we know, and we are very transparent about it with our network. Like, we're working on it, and we will take care of you. So
Steven knows a lot about family dysfunction.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
You are the number one dysfunction.
That's what they called me growing up. Number one dysfunction.
Number one dysfunction.
Well, it seems like, if I'm interpreting right, and I could be wrong, but this is what I'm hearing. I don't know what you guys are hearing, Cody and Steven, but I'm hearing like you're really, really good and disciplined when it comes to your routines. And like your even mindset, the way you described it as a routine, as a habit. You described it as like, oh, we're in touch every single day with our people doing X, Y, Z. And that, like, when I get around really high performers, they have both sides of the equation, the art and the science. They have the motivation and the people skills and the ability to communicate and articulate, but it's built on a firm foundation of operational strength. And that operational strength can really be dictated down to one thing. They do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it every single time. And if they do that, then they win. That's essentially what I'm hearing from you, is going, hey, why have I been good? Because I know mindset matters. I know motivation matters. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the processes that drive your everyday habits. And we enforce those and we stick to them. And we're willing to adapt, I should say. But we stick to it and we see it through, where most people don't.
Absolutely. And if you believe in what you're doing, and you guys believe in what you're doing with your team, and you can see it in the results, right? And I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what our broker owners are doing. We're surrounded by people who believe, even in the tough times. And I'm sometimes grateful. I know this might come off trite. I'm sometimes grateful for those tough times, because during COVID, there was still so much belief in our network, in what we were doing, and that we were going to make our way out of it. And in the last couple of years, there's still been so much belief. We haven't had a lot of people say, shoot, I don't know if I should be at Realty One Group. I should probably go try something else. They stuck with us. That retention factor is huge for me, because it means that they were, I hate to say this, but they were sold on what we look like, our culture, our brand, whatever. They got in, and the sale matched what it was inside. And that's how I felt when I joined the company, is it looked great and Kuba was wonderful and the people were fantastic. And 2 months in, I was like, oh no, this is the real deal. Like, this is the real deal. And 6 years later, I've been with them 6 years. 6 years later, it's still the real deal.
Well,
That's
I love
awesome.
what you said. I think the one thing me and Steven have talked about, every top producer looks for, is growth. So when you mention that word, that is why most people leave, is that they feel like they're not having the growth that they need. And so you mentioning that is such a huge driver, especially for top, is like, hey, I want to continually grow. Like when me and Steven talk, that's like where my mindset always is. All right, what can we do to get that, take that next step to capitalize?
And there's no reason to ever stop that. I actually did a quick presentation for the Level Up class yesterday, and saw one of our top producers in there. And again, she can literally sit on her, she's doing plenty of transactions. I know her family, I know her life, to kind of make do, but she's that professional that every year wants to do something different and wants to make it better. And so she invests in herself, she invests in her business, she attends that Level Up class. She's going to do something different this year. And I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cory, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we close out, let people know how they can connect with you.
Well, first of all, you guys are a great time. If you ever need like a little female host on your podcast, 'cause there's a lot of testosterone going on.
Yeah, we need to take you up on that. Because I told Josh the other day that we have to get some female co-hosts coming on, because it's we're trying to do what Patrick Bet David does, or Impulsive, like they have frequent co-hosts and stuff like that coming on the show, more conversational. We have a new segment that we're trying to build up and work on right now, which is going to be phenomenal, which we have you come on. I'm going to tease it here. We're going to have hopefully live call-ins with real estate agents around the country that ask us questions. So you know how like the Dave Ramsey show has call-ins that go, I'm in debt, help me, Dave. We're going to have real estate agents call in and go, I need leads. I need help. And then what we want to do is bring on like really high level people like yourself that we go, okay, we have, Susan out of Kentucky. Susan, tell us about your problem. Tell us what's going on.
I love it,
and then we can all give our takes. I think it's going to be awesome. Comment on this YouTube video if you want to see that segment, because we're preparing it right now. We got questions already. What did we get? Like 300? 200? Yeah. Over the survey, 300 something questions.
300.
That's good.
Already. So we're going to call these people, get them on the show. And it's just going to be, quick sound bites of, hey, tell us your problem, stuff like that. But it's going to be awesome.
Well, if I'm invited back on, I'll get the red headphones. I promise.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to thank you guys for what you're doing, because I love, you feel like a part of our culture already, is that you'll do stuff for other agents who aren't on brand, who aren't in the team, because again, we just love the real estate industry. We want to better everybody for it. So thank you for doing that. You can find Realty One Group online. We're everywhere. So Facebook. And then I encourage you to just go check out the brand, check out our culture on Facebook, Instagram, and that sort of stuff. And like you guys said, it's a dynamic, fun brand, and we don't discriminate. You guys can all come and join whatever brand you're with.
Awesome, Cory. Thank you. Cody, Steven, thank you so much for joining today. Anything for the audience?
Yeah.
You got a teaser? You got a sneak peek or something like Luke had? What do you got?
Quite.
Okay.
All
right.
No, but I love talking to you guys. I get calls weekly from this podcast. So reach out. Love being in a relationship with people that, boots on the ground. We give feedback to each other, help each other grow. But feel free to reach out to me, 434-216-5306.
Actually,
Very
the
cool.
teaser is we did the circle prospecting video. I think it's already came out as well, but people should go back and listen to that episode on how to circle prospect.
Yes.
That's right. All right. Thank you all again. Thank you so much for listening. You can get all of those links, phone numbers, contact information, everything in the show notes over at staypaidpodcast.com, as well as the video of this episode. If you like this episode and want to show your support, head on over to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star review, or Spotify, drop us a review along with a comment. We'll read it here on the show. And the best way to support the show is to share this episode with somebody that you know. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on social media. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Cory, thank you so much for coming on. Super excited to have you on the show. But also, I know we're doing a big partnership with Realty One Group, which is going to be awesome. So I can't wait for more of that. So everybody listening to this, you guys know the difference between top producers and mediocre producers is they take action. So my action item for you from this show is, if you listen to what Cory is talking about, and what I tried to hone in on for you is going, hey, if you want to change your business, you got to change your mindset. In order to change your mindset, you have to change your routines, which ultimately is what you're feeding your mind. And I would challenge you right now today to ask yourself, wherever you're listening to this, whatever time it is, what have you done up to this point in time? And was it intentional? Was it planned? Did you know what you were going to do? Or have you been reactive from the moment you woke up to the moment you've listened to this episode? And I would say that's the difference maker. If you want to be extraordinary, it's just a little extra. I think it was Jimmy Johnson who said that, right? The extra is, what is your routine that you're putting in to change your mindset, which will ultimately change your life, because it will change your business. Remember, difference between top producers, mediocre producers. Top producers take action. Take action on that today.